Alright, how is it going, everybody? I'm Captain Paxo, from the future, of course, and back with another video. Of course, me being back from the future means that I have absolutely destroyed my previous PB in a category. This time it was by a whole, like, 20 seconds or something. Absolutely mental. Yeah, no. This was a good run, I'm happy with it. Hopefully as we get in I'll be able to provide some insightful commentary. Compared to my last PB, it's been about 2-3 hours since I got this run, so I'm not the adrenaline-fueled mess that I was during the last PB commentary, so that might be a bit of a relief. But yeah, my mentality for this run was not really focusing on PB. I've got the tournament match against the Hamster in about 3 days. So my kind of mentality and my philosophy for each day was just no resets, getting consistent runs every time. Tonight was a little bit different. I thought, you know what, I'm gonna try like do a couple of attempts. I think I got like 3 or 4 attempts in before I got this run. So yeah, the no resets are definitely paying off, and I'm feeling not too bad at the moment. But yeah, so obviously this being a run which you're seeing, it means I got gem skip. If you don't get gem skip, you lose minute 40. That was that skip just there. If I'd missed that, would have lost a minute 40. So yeah, that's a reset straight away because you like enter the door at the end at just under a minute 40 anyway. But no, it's been a bit of a quiet time for Lego the Hobbit at the moment. Obviously the tournament's just picked back up in the past couple of weeks, and that spiked a little bit of interest. But I think that's just the nature of the category that it has such a big berth, and like it's still an awesome category to play. But there's always going to be the drop in attention. I mean, it happens with any category, especially near the top level, because I like to think, or realistically, there's only 2 sub 25 runners at the moment, as far as I'm aware, and that's me and the Hamster. I think that's true. I need to check that one. But, it's definitely good for my ego if I say that anyway. So. But yeah, as we're doing the mining here, I wasn't actually focusing on player 2's mining. I was just tapping a mashing rhythm, quite a slow mashing rhythm, which I know roughly works for that. For silver, which was able to get me through that. If I didn't have that, it wouldn't have been too bad. But then I got 316 cutscene skip, which is 2 seconds behind CG at this point. But I got barrier skip pretty nicely. Yeah, so yeah, me and the Hamster are the only sub 25 runners at the moment. I'd say like that's the big boundary between, or like for the very top level. Obviously Hamster's still ahead of me. I think SOB is about 30 seconds ahead of me. But I'd still consider like me and Hamster to be the top 2, with me being the second of those. But you know, we'll see how the tournament match ends up. But yeah, as we go here, I guess a tiny change in this run. I've worked out a consistent, or more consistent strategy to get a vertical buddy up. It's like standing just behind and slightly to the right of player 2, and that kind of tends to give you it more often. It's not 100%, it's nothing like truly scientific. I won't say, you know, buddy ups have been solved, because we still don't really know what constitutes getting a vertical or what constitutes getting a horizontal. But the improvement's definitely there, and the improvement can be seen. And as we then go, we're finishing up the auto scroller. Yeah, I can't remember how much I was actually like caring sounds wrong, but how much I was dedicated to this run almost. Like, it's weird, my mentality, because like sometimes on no resets I can like psych myself up, get kind of the heart pumping, get adrenaline going, like I get in tourney situations, and I perform better when that happens. On a reset run, it's quite difficult to do that because like the pressure of losing isn't as much. Like in a no reset, you can kind of trick yourself that like you have to like finish this run out, and you have to finish this run well. In a reset run, it's kind of like, oh well, if something goes wrong, especially in the first level, I just menu and it's like barely any time. Like I'll get back there pretty quickly. So yeah, it's a little bit different. So if anything, I think my mentality is much more geared towards doing no reset runs like this than it is to actually trying just to pump out like heavy resets. But I guess that's something you learn as a speedrunner. You learn like not only how the game works, obviously, but how you work. And if anything, that's more important. Like a lot of the top runners of other games, take SM64 for example. There's like a ton of runners, or not a ton, but there's a handful of runners who could get world record and have the capacity to get world record. But what makes a difference between them is the mentality to perform. And that's, yeah, quite an interesting thing in my opinion. And I guess that kind of mentality especially shows itself in like tournament matches. Like, yes, I think for the Hobbit tourney, most people in the draw could do every single skip that me, Hamster, Laser, and Jack do. But what sets us apart from them is our ability to like do it either with like more experience of the game. Like obviously some runners only just like learn the game for the tourney, but also just kind of a little bit of that mentality. And I'm in no means saying I'm perfect with it, you know. Relatively speaking, I'm pretty new to speedrunning. I haven't had like that many runs which have been like high stakes, haven't been in that many competitions. Like, I mean, I've been at a big marathon event which was amazing. Also, I don't remember this trigger hit being this bad, but it really was, huh? Was that like 6th try? I think at this point I was just no resetting it out. It was an interesting mentality running up against these PB splits as well, because these PB splits don't have birdless fog skip, which is a new skip in like the second room of the next level, and it was also poor execution for that level. So I was like, I have like, I think now my gold is half a minute quicker, almost half a minute quicker than my PB for the next level. The Necromancer, or in my splits known as Minor Altercation, because of course. So I could like, in theory, I could take any run going up to probably a 9-10 or so. I could take anyone through to this point. Yeah, there's a 9-10 looking for proof exit. I could take any run through to this point. But then the trouble is my last 2 splits were golds. When I did my PB. I think they still are, or still were before this run. Spoilers. Unfortunate here with the mistargeting. That lost me like a handful of seconds, 3 or something. Just, I'm not really sure what happened there. Because generally once you finish the build with P2, you want to hit the thing straight away. It might have been my angle on the controller was pointing a little bit too far down, so it auto-targeted like one of the targets below, or like I did it too soon or something, so the statue's like hit marker wasn't there yet. Hit marker? I don't even know if that's the right word. But yeah, this is Birdle's Fog Skip, so I got player 1 into a continuously falling state. And that builds up downward speed, and then off-screen him. And then, yep, once you hit the statue, that releases the downward speed. Once it gets to the point where you can go below the map in, I think, a frame, it like mirrors the speed from downwards vertical to upwards vertical, and then you use that to launch over the gate. It's a weird one. Same thing happens in tree launch in Lord of the Rings. It's just a quirky mechanic that has very minimal applications, but it just so happens that one of them is in restricted 80% really. In regular no levels early, you just resync launch up there. But that way is definitely the superior way of doing it, although it is a bit slow. And as usual, there isn't normally much to talk about in the Azog fight, so time for some filler content. This video is what? No. I'm not going to do a fake sponsorship deal, that's probably... wouldn't mind getting sponsored, but... kind of not right to do it when you don't have it. But yeah, I'm taking some deaths with P2 here. Not really important. Like, you could take enough deaths in the boss fight to get down to 0 studs, but it's not like... it doesn't hurt as long as you like don't get distracted with player 2 or player 1. You're fine. And then we, meander into the boss fight. This is like the slow part of the run. From here on out, the next level especially is just intense. Like, on the doorstep, it's just 2 minutes where you can never really be sure of like any part of it. Because you start off with Icicle Launch. Icicle Launch tends to be relatively okay, but has the odd moment where it isn't. Then you have Fast OTD, the nightmare that is. And then you have the next one, and my mind has gone completely blank. Oh, and then after Fast OTD you have a precise camera pan skip, and then you have statue launch, and then you have spin launch, which can sometimes just be like, nah, I don't actually want to spin, or don't actually want to launch from a spin, which can be quite annoying. And then you've got to get 0 studs with, like, again, a pretty tight timing, so it's an intense one to say the least, but it's a level. I was about to say it's a fun level there, and then realised I don't actually agree with that much. It's more just stress. Oh yeah, other big news, which I haven't actually announced yet, I think, because plans are still kind of not in limbo, but it might not be happening at this point. But the plan is on Sunday, the Sunday after this video goes out, which is the 3rd of April, I will be doing my first Lord of the Rings 100% speedrun. That'll be over on my Twitch, obviously, because I'm not going to do that sat in a room by myself. Yeah, that would no. But yeah, that should be fun. My goal for it is to get it under 9 hours. I think I'm going to play with cutscenes, because that's like a comparison metric, or like the only like category which has runs as of yet. So that'll be a spicy one. I'm thinking, well, world record is like 10:17, I want to say. 10 hours, 17 minutes. So, in reality, if I can get sub 9, I'd be happy. Obviously, that is quite optimistic, you know. I've done a segmented with no cut, and it's almost been sub 8. But the difference between doing a run segmented and doing a run in the flesh is massive. Because like tiredness is going to set in. I'm going to need to work out when I can actually reach for food. So yeah, it's not just about playing the game for that long, it's about living your life for that long as well. Pee breaks, that's probably why I'm going to play with cutscenes in the early game, because Eleanor has a very good pee break spot. It's one of the, well, I think it's like a 3-minute cutscene. But anyway, back to the run at hand here. Fast OTD time. And yep, I went for fast OTD. Of course, Barlin decided to have a moment and go all the way over there, which is quite annoying. But then managed to get the actual launch first try, and then got the buddy up for statue skip first try. And then got the camera pan skip. I've been struggling a bit with the camera pan skip, but that was fine that time. So now it's kind of like, okay, this is a run. Got to get statue launch though. Statue launch, if I remember correctly, was a bit slow. Like I forgot to jump round thing there. That was just me being me. But yeah, overall not too bad. Probably, well, this wasn't quite. It could have been pacing gold, I think, if I'd got a vertical buddy up there. But it didn't quite. This gold is way beatable. Like, it's a 206. CG is like a 158 or something. If I remember correctly. Or, like, it's definitely a 1.5x. I'm just yet to string a good OTD together. But it will come. It might well come in the tournament, to be honest. I could see getting, like, a 202, 203 pretty soon. Which would be cool. But then yeah, managed to get 0 studs. Had less than 1k, so I could do the safe 0 stud strat. Rather than risking it. And I lost like, what? Just over 5 seconds. Makes sense. I think it was the second try icicle launch. And the second try buddy up. And some bad positioning with statue launch. So it's fine. As we then go into the final level. Don't quite get the spin off here, which is quite annoying. But still decently okay thus far. Like, it's not as good as I want it to be on, but it's not too bad. I think at this point this is the second best ever paced run I've had. I had a run which was 36 seconds ahead coming out of minor altercation. Having golded level 2 and level 3. That then dropped down to, I think, 19.9 seconds ahead at the end of level 4, or Among Us. I think, I can't remember what happened. I think I was just playing a little bit poorly because the nerves kind of got to me a bit. It's a different kind of nerve when you're on like a high paced run. It's weird. Because like tournament matches, I guess it just feels different. I don't know how to describe it, but like my mentality going into a tournament match versus my mentality when I'm on a really good run is just, you'd think it would be similar, but it's really not. But like what I feel at the beginning of the tournament match, it kind of allows me to perform, I guess, a bit better. When you're on a good pace run, it's the opposite. It's almost like flicking it. Like for the tournament, I've got to go out there and win it. For a good pace run, I've got to go out there and not lose it. And that like mentality means you're more prone to do whatever you're thinking. So if I'm thinking I'm gonna not lose, then more likely to lose. If I go out there thinking I've got to go and get it, go and win it, then more prone to winning it. Psychology, it's a cool thing. Should have studied it maybe. Nah. Anyway, we're heading into the unskippable cutscene now. I think most of this first part was pretty smooth. I did a slightly different strat for Chandelier Skip, where I did the 2-player Chandelier Skip, but I made sure I got 1 hit of damage off on player 2 before going there. Just meant it was a little bit quicker to get the kill. 1-player Chandelier Skip is still optimal, but I think 2-player Chandelier Skip is significantly quicker than second try 1-player Chandelier Skip. So it's worth it. For the sake of, what, 3 seconds maybe? If that, it's fine.
I was just saying, your reputation precedes you, O Smaug the tyrannical. Truly, you have no equal on this earth.
But yeah, in the unskippable cutscene, at this point it was the best run I've ever been on. Just because the nerves in the other run that was better than this just meant that I was messing up left, right and centre basically at this point. I think that run finished I think it was on low 25, but man, it could have been so much more.
The plan's not gonna work. These furnaces are stone cold.
As we go into the launches here though, I've been struggling a decent amount with Loz launch here. Don't know what it is about it, but I've just been having issues with it, I guess.
And fat in your dotage, slug.
But yeah, hopefully those well, spoilers, they did resolve themselves for this run. I might be giving too much away given the fact my best possible time is a 24:28 and this PB was less than that. Slight spoiler. Just a tiny one. But yeah, get this buddy up first try. That buddy up's been super consistent for me recently. It's honestly great. Best buddy up, we can all agree. And then Loz launch, first try buddy up, and got the jump. Can't wish for anything better. Landed right on the spot as well. That first section is probably near BTT. Oh, it's not BTT, but it might be near. That'd be pretty cool. If I remember correctly, this one PTC, however, was not quite. It wasn't bad, and there aren't any glaringly obvious errors. It was just a little bit of poor execution here and there, but that's fine. It's kind of understandable when you're 1 launch away from getting a PB, and I always time it based on when the circle disappears. That you've got about a minute, just under. And now the circle disappeared at 23:24. So a minute from there, just under, yeah, looking at just below a 24:25, which we take. But that does mean, or does require you to get a near perfect jack launch, and we will see how that goes in about 3 seconds. I mean, the character management here was okay. Annoyingly, the way the pieces were, I had to wait for them to move to clear them out of the way, but I could move them pretty clearly. Missed the first try buddy up, but got it second try, and at this point I was just staring at the timer. That was a really good launch. But yeah, I think the mashing was really slow. And then finished it up with a 24:22, and that might be a 24:21. I'm not sure. I can't remember how early I started it, but yeah, no, solid run. Thank you very much for watching, everyone, and yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. Yeah, check out the race on Friday. Friday, 10 PM BST. Yeah, 10 PM BST, whatever that is in EST, I don't know. probably 5 p.m. But yeah, go watch. See ya.